In the previous video of this session, we learned the concept of process. And we know that by dividing a process into more number of processes, the overall execution time of a given process gets reduced. And we also know that dividing a process into various other processes consumes lots of resources. That's why in this video, I am going to introduce you with the concepts of multiprocessing, multiprogramming, multitasking, and multithreading. Namaste everyone, I am Gyan and you are watching the session 20 of Java and Web, Multithreading in Java. This is an example of multiprocessing, when a computer system have more than one CPUs or when a CPU having more than one cores. Then in this case, the computer have various different execution units. This system is called multiprocessing system because a computer has more than one processors, more than one processing units. If you talk about multiprogramming, then if a computer have more than one programs, more than one processes, then this type of system is called multiprogramming system. If a computer system or an operating system can manage more than one processes together, then this type of facility is called multiprogramming system. We already have seen about the multiprogramming system in the previous video of this session. Suppose that a computer system has only one CPU, but the computer system has more than one programs to execute simultaneously. In that case, how an operating system manage all these programs to execute on the CPU so that none of the process get stuck? This type of facility is called multitasking system. We already have seen an example of multitasking system in the previous video of this session. This is not about only one CPU or only one execution unit. It may have more than one execution units, but at the same time, the operating system has dozens of processes. So anyhow, the operating system has to manage dozens of processes on just one execution unit, just one CPU core. When an operating system has to manage more than one processes on a single CPU core, then this facility is called multitasking system. Operating systems provide the multitasking facilities. Otherwise, we will not able to execute dozens of programs on few CPU cores. After that, we have the concept of multithreading. Running various tasks together on a single CPU is called multitasking. And there are two ways to achieve multitasking. First one is multiprogramming, as discussed in the previous video. And second one is multithreading. Many people may not agree with me on this point. Why I am saying that there are two ways to achieve multitasking? Because only if you have multiple programs to execute on single CPU, then only you need to achieve the multitasking. Only you have multiple processes present in the operating system and you have very few CPU cores, then only that case you will need to achieve the multitasking. That's why I told there are two ways to achieve multitasking. First one is multiprogramming and other one is multithreading. We already have discussed about the multiprogramming and in this video we are going to discuss the multithreading. Before we learn about the concept of multithreading, we need to understand the concept of thread of execution. The execution sequence of a process is called thread of execution. The thread of execution means the sequence of machine instructions executed one after another. Means whatever the machine instructions will execute one after another because of this process is called thread of execution of the process P1. Every process has at least one thread of execution. A process can have only one thread of execution and another process may have multiple threads of execution. So when a process have multiple threads of execution, that is, if multiple machine instruction sequence can exist in parallel, then this is called multithreading of a process. Means process is one, but there are various other execution sequence of the given process. This is called the multithreading of a process. So process P1 is a single threaded process, but the process P2 is a multi-threaded process which have three threads, which has three sequences of execution. Multithreading is an efficient way to implement multitasking. Look at here. This is a process with a single thread. And these are the few resources used by this process. When we do multiprocessing to achieve the multitasking, then we need to duplicate all these processes. But when we do the multithreading of a single process to achieve multitasking, then we need to replicate only few resources, not all. Means for all these threads, code data and file will be same. But for all the threads, register values and stack values will be different. But if you do the multiprogramming to achieve the multitasking, all these resources will be duplicated, including code data and file. But if here you are achieving the multitasking by using multithreading, then these three resources, code data and file, will be common for all the threads. So you can save lots of resources when you achieve the multitasking by using the multithreading. In multithreading, we just create different sequence, means different flow of execution in the same process. These different sequence of execution can execute together, called various threads of the same process. Executing together means these execution sequences are not dependent on each other. They may execute at the same time on various different cores of the CPU. Unlike processes, these threads share heap, open file, etc. other resources. One example of using multithreading is in client-server architecture, where in the server side, different threads are used to serve different clients. If we start creating different processes for every client, it will consume a huge amount of resources. Multithreading also used to develop multimedia applications. Unlike processes, these threads share heap, open files, etc. That's all for this video, guys. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe my channel on YouTube, like my page on Facebook, and leave your valuable comments in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.